for her face. Arran snatched his hand before he connected with her flesh. He wrenched the vampire's arm. A loud pop of bone surrendering under extreme pressure filled the small confines of the room. Nice. A scream tore from the bloodsucker's throat as he was pulled away from his victim. The Enclave warrior held on and matched the dead's movements until he found the perfect angle to sink his blade into the dead's chest. Before the smoking body hit the floor, Arran crouched by Gabrielle's trembling frame. She flung herself at him, knocking him to his knees. The sudden warmth of her body shattered him. Her full breasts had pressed into his chest, and the honeysuckle scent of her hair had filled his nostrils, setting his body on fire. Gabrielle leaned her head back. Sparkling amber eyes had met his from under a thick fan of dark lashes. Her pupils dilated, darkening her gaze. His ability to draw a breath wilted into non-existence. Before he knew it, his fingers were tangled deep in her hair. The silky feel of her tresses against his skin had echoed like strokes along the ridge of his cock, bringing him to an immediate throbbing erection. The pink tip of her tongue had darted out, and she had licked the top and bottom of her lips. One simple act, and it had fried what minuscule control remained. Gabrielle sealed her lips with Arran's before he'd realized either of them had even moved. He wanted to savor every second. But the moment her sweet lips touched his, he devoured her. She fractured his mind, his sanity. Her tongue battled with his for dominance, as crazed as he for a taste. But, even though he had never thought fate for any reason would bring Gabrielle into his arms, the baggage they both carried was an insurmountable mountain of shit they could never climb over. And his personal collection was not something he wanted Gabrielle to pry open. She was reason one why he'd left, and his ass sat in a bar a couple of 100 miles away from the Enclave's headquarters. Reason number 2? His former partner, Marcus. The vampire who'd betrayed them all with the master of the Enclave's psychotic sire, Marguerite. He should have detected sooner that something was off before Marcus had ordered Marguerite's deads to overrun the mansion. He'd known the male had been having headaches and not acting like himself. It had been right there in front of his damn face. The other warrior had not only been his partner, but the closest thing to a friend he'd ever had. What a fool he'd been not to see the obvious changes in him before Marcus had nearly destroyed the Enclave. Now it was Arran's job to find him and make things right. And when he found the bastard, it would be a bitch. Killing a friend couldn't be described any other way. "Hey!" The prostitute yanked him back into the present. "Did you hear what I said?" Reaching up, he buried his fist in her hair and stared at the strands of brown and dyed gold. Her glassy eyes met his for a moment with a drunken half-smile on her lips. $50. She pushed back, then stopped. "On second thought." She wrapped her fingers around a loose strand of his own hair and tucked it behind his ear. "Make that 40. I have a thing for hot blonde guys." Her fingertips brushed his flesh, the contact gentle, yet it scraped across his nerve endings. Wrong. A growl emanated from his chest. She jerked, her eyes widening. What the hell was that? This was not going to work. Who the hell was he trying to kid? No other woman's touch was ever going to feel right, not when Gabrielle owned a piece of his soul. He opened his mouth, intending to spit out some sort of lame excuse. Instead, he cupped her cheek. "What are you doing?" Star grabbed his fingers. "You need to go." The command rumbled deep from within his chest. "Who the hell do you think you are giving me orders?" She glanced up into his eyes and froze, dropping her hand back to her side. The sight of his blackened eyes had the desired effect.
"It's time for you to leave, Star. Very quietly. You've made a few bucks, but you can't remember who or what the John looked like."